When shadows fall and spirits howl, zombies stalk and madmen prowl. Monsters lurk and victims shiver. Thrills and chills they will deliver. Arise from your graves and get in the mood. It's time to join the Spooky Dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
Great show. And you treated us like scream queens. You were treated like royalty. You guys, you upped it. I'm going to be spoiled now at other shows.
Well, we try.
One thing we've said in the past is that we're a small con cosplaying is a larger con. But honestly, like you said, I think the Franken family, the fans, they're so into it that it just, the support and everything is just next level.
Absolutely 100%.
And I love the hotel, and it does help that we have, the airport is literally next to the hotel. So
are you kidding?
Yeah, so we don't really have to deal with, except poor Linnea had awful airline problems on our trip, coming and going.
It's the storms you guys have that time of year.
Yeah, Thursday night we got like tornadoes and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so which is interesting to me. I mean, California, we don't even have weather, so
it's just one season. It's just summer all year.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so it was a little exciting in a way, but
yeah, me and my wife went to California in February, and it was great.
Yeah,
perfect weather. It's like it's nice.
Everything else about it is less than to be desired, but yeah.
The price of food there is insane. It didn't help that we went to Universal and we did all the touristy stuff, but man.
I know, it's like coming to your place. It was like, what? Is that all? I'll have seconds,
Yeah.
Well, your gas prices, get out of here.
Oh, yeah, gas.
What I said when I went there.
Cost of living in Tennessee and Georgia is really nice. It's well, let's we've got people starting to funnel in here, so you guys throw your questions in the chat. We'll try to get as many of those in for Michelle as possible. But let's start talking about movie stuff. I want to start with talking about these Jess Franco movies because
Corey just found this out, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm on the hunt now for 2 Jess Franco movies, Lust for Frankenstein and
Eight Legs of Lovin'.
There were 8 legs to love you.
8 Legs to Love You. Marie Cookie and the Killer Tarantula. My God. What a brilliant man. How did you end up getting hooked up with Jess Franco?
It was a friend of mine that I used to work conventions with, Peter Evenko and Kevin Clement. Not Kevin Clement. What was Kevin's last name? Oh, he's going to kill me if he finds out I can't remember it. But anyway,
we can edit this
out. They struck up a relationship with him, and he was very interested in me and put us in contact. And then it just went from there. And flew us out to Spain, Linnea Quigley and I, and Amber Newman, and flew us out there to do a few films, all in one stay. So, it was quite an adventure, and he was a fantastic director. I mean, it was a little odd. You're reading the scripts, and they all seemed a little strange, of course, but then, it's Jess Franco because he's, what do you want to call it? Eccentric.
Yeah.
Is what I would call it in his style. And so when we got there, a lot of the time with these lower budget movies, you're relied upon to, bring it all, know what your character is, what your character is to do. And you find yourself lost sometimes because there's no one there really to tell you what to do. You just read your lines and get her done. And he knew exactly what he wanted, how he wanted it done, what he wanted it to look like, how he wanted you to be. And that was such a relief. It was like, here's a guy that is so passionate about these scripts that he knows exactly what he wants. And it was just tremendous to work with him on that level, because he had in his mind exactly how he wanted this to come to life, which made you even more excited to help him bring it there.
Yeah.
And so it was a real vibrant, exciting time for me working with him. And then unfortunately, shortly after I left, he wanted me to come back with my family and film some more. And I said, well, I have my family, I have a business. He goes, bring them. And at that point, that's when I made my cutoff, when I quit working for quite a long time, because my daughter was, I think, 9. And I thought, no, I should be home. I need to stay home. I just can't be traveling the world. And so that's when I took a break, stopped doing movies, stopped doing shows, and then took a very long hiatus. But it was such a pleasure to work with him. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
And him getting you there for 2 back-to-back movies makes a lot of sense. This is a very economical filmmaker, notoriously so, even sometimes reusing footage in locations. But
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
oh yeah, there's lots of fun trivia about Jess Franco kind of pissing off the film studios and stuff like that, with basically being contracted to make 3 films, and he's like shooting films outside of the contract at the same time, and they're like, you're not supposed to be doing that on our time. He's like, I'm not.
And an interesting thing about him was that I thought he was Spanish, and he was not, but he spoke fluent Spanish. I said, so how is it that you speak such fluent Spanish? He says, when I got here, I learned a new word every day. And he was fluent. Yeah, he was fluent.
That's awesome. We got a good question in the chat here. I want to go ahead and throw this one up. This is from a familiar name too, Richard and Jeff.
Yeah, Jason down at the dungeon has a question. And boy, Jason loves Fred Olin Ray. I mean, he is a big fan, so he was wondering what it was like to work with him.
Fred was, he's a tremendous good friend of mine, even to this day. Matter of fact, we're going to be at Tampa Screams in June. Together.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that Tampa Bay Screams, I think it's called.
That's Sean Donahue's
show,
right?
I don't think Sean is a part of it anymore, but I mean, he's still there. But I think there's some other runners on it. But yes.
But so Fred, he, from the day I met him, was, I want to say, how do I even explain him? People who have a lot of power in the sense of their being and their personality and themselves. I consider him that type of personality. He's extremely powerful. He's extremely knowledgeable about everything. I mean, he's done everything from making his own music to making his own movies to writing his own books. He's doing his memoirs now. I mean, this guy is unafraid to tackle anything. When he was in the very beginning, distributing his movies, he was getting ripped off. And so then he started distributing his own stuff. Now he owns all of his own movies, distributes everything. I mean, this guy is unafraid to do anything. And he can keep you glued for hours. Like when we go have lunch, he's just amazing. He cracks me up, full of energy, vibrant, honest. He's trusting. I'm going to get teary-eyed. He is probably one of the finest people I've ever met in Hollywood.
Wow.
And we're
Awesome.
fantastic friends from the beginning, and we are now, and I think we always will be. And I moved from California, and my heart aches. I miss him terribly. We used to have lunch all the time. And now he's really far away, and it kind of saddens me. But I guess that just lets me know that I need to reach out and make more attempts to be with him and spend time, because he's that wonderful of a human.
Now I want to get down to Tampa for this other show.
Yeah, Tampa. Tampa. I was born and raised in Tampa, so they've got a few cons down there in the Tampa, Orlando area. So it's cool that they got you down there. From what I know, the Tampa Bay Screams is kind of like us, as far as like they're a smaller show and they like the cult classic stuff, the '80s and all that. So yeah, I'd like to go to that show. What was the? I did have a question. What was your favorite movie to shoot? Like as far as being fun.
Well, of course, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
That one. What about Nightmare Sisters?
Nightmare Sisters was great. That was a lot of hard work. We shot that in less days.
Yeah. I did kind of figure that might be tougher just because of the days. So
yeah, they were long and grueling, but it was, we all knew our lines, so that was great. And all of us girls were good friends already, had super good established relationships. And Dave Dakota was, he's a blast. But it was a lot of hard work, and it was fun. And I loved, Dookie Fly Spotter and everybody. Met Richard Gabai on that show, and he showed up for work the first day, having known his lines, but really didn't have much clue about what he was doing. And he shows up on the day where we all turn from nerds to these succubus sisters. Yeah. He shows up on set, and we're already on set, and of course we're all in our undies. And we're all oiled up and being, trying to be very sexy and very hot. And he walks in and goes, "No way. This is what I'm doing today?"
That's great. What made Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers like so fun?
Fred.
Different.
Just Fred. He's like a kid in a candy store. He was like, it's like playing when you're working for him. It's a lot of fun. He's so spontaneous. Like I had said this, I think, in the Q&A at your show, but what I'll never forget is when we were when I'm sawing up Jimmy in the very beginning. I get my first victim, I take him home to my place, and I'm sawing him up, and I didn't know Fred was going to be, because like when they're getting my close-up of me killing him, that Fred was going to be on the other side of the camera with a Hudson sprayer full of blood. Okay, so I'm there, and I got my shower cap on, and I'm acting like I'm, getting the guy all chainsawed up. And next thing I know, here comes this blood squirting at me, which I did not expect. And I'm, so I'm like doing this and trying to act like, oh, and then he starts throwing these body parts at me. And then this hand comes up to my breast. And I'm just like, I didn't know what to do. And I grab it, and he is just like throwing all this stuff at you. And then we were done, and I'm just going, what the hell was that? And that's how he was. He was just like having so much fun, cracking himself up all the time. And the dialogue sometimes would change, or certain little nuances that he wanted from you would change just as spontaneously as we went. So that just made it exciting and fun. That he was that kind of guy.
We did have a Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers question come in.
Okay.
Tanner wants to know how it was working with Gunner on Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Hey everybody, what is up, my dudes? If you're enjoying this episode, please do me a favor and head over to patreon.com/spookydudes. That is where you can get full-length episodes that are unedited. Sometimes for YouTube, we have to edit for content. Pretty much always have to edit for time. So if you want to get those full-length episodes, please head over to patreon.com/spookydudes. And we really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much.
Well, I tell you, he scared the crap out of me when I watched that movie that he made, Chainsaw Massacre, because I was younger and I thought the guy was real, right? And when I knew that I was going to be working with him, I was kind of frightened because I thought he was going to be kind of creepy. And I met him, and what do we have? Lo and behold, this big, wonderful, brown-eyed teddy bear that wouldn't hurt a fly, and just so gentle and soft-spoken, very kind, complete opposite of what I expected to meet, and just a super wonderful, wonderful man. Yeah, big opportunity there too, to work with him.
That's one of the things, like when we talk about cons and things like that, the horror community, it's, if you're outside of it, you think these people are nuts, and like 99.9% of us are sweethearts, and we just want to hug you and tell you how awesome you are.
They're the best fans. They're the best fans ever. The horror fans. They're the best.
Those rom-com fans, that's who you need to worry about.
those Hallmark
Yeah, I was
fans.
going to say it's those Hallmark Christmas movie fans for sure.
That's my sister.
That's my wife.
Richard, that's you, like 7 or 8 films a year too. So.
I know. I watch like 2 or 3 a year.
Oh.
Well, I pick ones that sound interesting, and I will spend a date night watching those.
There you go.
You got to be
That's
flexible.
very sweet of you.
To be fair, most of the time she's on her phone while these movies, and I'm like,
We're changing the format of the podcast immediately. It's all Hallmark. Jeff, did you have any questions?
No, I'm just the hype man. I just show up and say,
Jeff just hangs out.
Were you at the show? Because you look familiar.
No, so I'm out in Colorado, so I wasn't able to make it out.
I didn't meet you at either of the Colorado shows that we went to just recently, 6 Feet Under, or
No, I didn't make it up to anything. I usually don't. I like
Jeff
staying at
doesn't
home.
do the con too much, but
I met
one
you in
day-
my dreams,
one day he'll
or
come to
look like
Franklin.
somebody.
one day he'll come to FrankenCon.
There's a souvenir. Michelle Bauer just said she met you in her dreams. That's
Oh, okay.
Now Corey hates you.
not a question, but a comment again from our friend Jason at the dungeon. Bikini Drive-In is fantastic.
Well, there's a story that goes along with Bikini Drive-In.
All right.
Oh, do tell.
Okay, you all familiar with the '94 earthquake here in California?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The big last one that we had? Well, we're filming Bikini Drive-In that night, just the eve of that earthquake. And I had taken my motor home because Fred needed a place for the actors to change. It was just a little tiny little motor home. And I took my daughter and I took my husband, and we went out and filmed Bikini Drive-In. And we left probably maybe like 1 a.m. Get home, and then the world just falls apart. We have this huge earthquake. Well, Fred was just on the outskirts of town of that epicenter. Wow. So when they were filming at the drive-in, he says there's this really hot chick dancing on a car, and they're filming, and next thing you know, everything is shaking, and all the lights and everything, generators are rattling and lights are swinging, and they're all going, what is going on? And then it all subsided. He goes, all right, go ahead, keep going. And he just kept filming, not knowing that they probably weren't going to be able to get home.
Jeez.
But yeah,
he get that shot
the eve of that earthquake. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was a great movie, and he ranks it as one of his best because it has every element of all of his movies in it.
I just got that Blu-ray right before FrankenCon, and I also got Witch Academy.
Yes.
I got the one you signed. I got one. I was lucky enough to get one of the early ones that you signed the slip cover on the back of. So I still haven't gotten to watch them because, we went into it before, but there's a lot going on. But eventually, it's on my stack, so I'm excited.
I think you'll like them both very much.
Well, Susan came away from the con. She was like, we have got to watch Nightmare Sisters. And I was like, I'm not sure it's your type of movie. and I go, just curious. I'll watch it with you. I'll gladly watch it again. But like, why do you watch it? She said you were describing some behind the scenes stuff and it sounded so crazy and zany. I was like, it's definitely crazy and zany. I will watch it with you for sure. This will be fun.
The one scene where we have a guy tied up in a bedroom, and we all go in there, and we're getting ready to go in, and there's this guy tied up, and we're all standing outside ready to go in, and Dave goes, okay, there's this guy in there. He's all tied up, and you're going to go in there, and the script says you're going to, Brink, you're going to whip him, or you're going to scratch him, you're going to bite him, blah blah blah. We go, okay. He goes, but I want you to go in there, and I want you to really scratch him. I want you to really bite him, and I want you to really hit him. And we said, well, does he know what's going on? He goes, he has no idea, but it's going to be great. So we go in there, and I tell you, when you take a look at that guy's face, if you look at his eyes, when we actually start really doing this stuff to him, there is an element of surprise. Yeah, he did not know what was coming.
We just covered that one probably within the last 2 months.
Yeah. I saw Nightmare Sisters when Vinegar Syndrome released that gorgeous slipcover.
Don't you love that?
Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
It's probably my favorite slipcover that they've ever done, and just it's amazing.
The front and the back. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. And so back then I would just buy movies. Well, I still do, and I have no idea what they are. And I had never even heard of Nightmare Sisters. And I watched it back then when it came out, and I loved it. It's just such a fun movie. And you guys are generally funny in it. I don't feel like you get a lot of chances to be funny. And when y'all were the geeky girls, it was it's really fun to watch y'all act to each other.
Yeah, I love Linnea with the buck teeth, right? And then we have Brink bringing all the nerdy, little. Oh, she cracked me up. I didn't even know she had that in her, and it was so much fun. That was great. Yeah, we were doing a scene with the guys come to the door to our house, and she opens up the door and she goes, "What the heck?" And her teeth just come flying out and across the living room floor, and it was just hilarious fun.
I don't even think about it, but you guys, how hard y'all had to work on that movie, because you're in, almost every frame of that film has at least one of y'all in it.
Yeah.
Doing something with makeup, with the teeth, with,
Oh, yeah, the teeth.
All the sets, the jungle room.
Yeah, and I go, "What am I doing here?" He goes, "Well, you're going to swallow this banana whole." I said, "Well, how are we going to do that?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it. I got it." And when I saw it, I went, "How did he do that?"
That's the best.
Richard, that was a blind buy for me too. I bought that from Vinegar Syndrome before the slipcover. I completely missed the boat on that one, but I was watching it at home. I had a sick day from work, and I was just like, I don't feel good. Put it in the Blu-ray player. I was like, wow, I like this. And then finding out the story of how, you guys shot this right off the back of Sorority Babes, right? This was sort of almost like Franco thing.
Yeah.
And it's so good though.
It's out back then. We were cranking them out, and on Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Fred had on the set all the access to this Grace Jones stuff. So when you go into a temple scene where Linnea does her chainsaw dance, that was all from a set from Grace Jones and one of her movies. So it's just in Dinosaur Island, when we did that, we're out there at Vasquez Rocks. And what are they shooting? The movie The Flintstones. And Fred goes, "Oh, you see all those background trees?" He goes, "I want all that, and I want you to shoot that." And they said, "Well, you can't. You have a permit to be here." And that's The Flintstones. He goes, "I have a permit to be here. Those trees are here. Shoot them." And so when we see in Dinosaur Island, there's some of the Flintstones set back there.
That's funny. I just got that on DVD. I can't wait to watch it. It eluded me at some point too, but I was raised off of Sorority Babes. That was my favorite rental when I was growing up as a teenager. It was perfect timing.
So I asked Susan one night, and this was a long time ago, before we were even doing FrankenCon, so she wasn't as into the world as she is now, right? And I said, "Do you want to watch Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bowl-o-Rama with me?" And she's like, "What?" That sounds dumb. And I was
it's
like,
a crazy title.
okay. And then like a week later, I just start watching it and the imp comes on. He's like, hey, what are you doing? You know, and she's like, what is this? This sounds hilarious. I'm like, you told me you didn't want to watch Sorority Babes. Huh? How the tables have turned, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then she
what I
loved
love about that movie, no, I'm thinking of Nightmare Sisters, is that Linnea was in an all-girl band at the time. And they used some of her music for the soundtrack. So when the song Santa Monica Boulevard Boy comes on, that's Linnea and her all-girl band. Yeah, and her and Dave were collaborating with her music and the movie and stuff. So
It's cool.
yeah, that is very cool, I think. Linnea, boy, that girl, she's got her hand in just about everything. She's also like Fred. She's so unafraid of things. Yeah.
She was. I had to. Her flight got in very late, and so I met her at the airport, and I was like, you know, you never know. I was like, I don't know if she's gonna be mad at us or what's going on, but she was just the sweetest person the entire time. Like she was just so awesome.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. I'm telling you, both those women are just tremendous women. We started way back when in shower scenes, you know, for the studios, getting naked because nobody else would. And we just kept meeting each other over and over on sets. And then it just all kind of came together. And Dave Dakota was the first one to put us together.
Oh,
That's really
So
cool.
we actually can attribute the Nightmare Sisters to him and the Slimeball Bowl-o-Rama thing. And then we all had our own niches. You know, I had mine, Brink had hers, Linnea had hers. So we never really had to compete against each other, and we never ever did. We always just maintained a super good friendship over all these years, even now. I mean, we've all remained super good friends. They're both fantastic women.
and Brink is like the busiest person ever. If you look at her IMDb, like it is insane how busy she is. And she's directing now and doing all sorts of crazy things. It's awesome.
When she did that directing, I was so happy for her. I was so elated because she's that person, you know, because I said, so what was it like having been in so many shower scenes yourself to direct a shower scene, right? What was that like? Because in Slimeball Bowl-o-Rama, is that like the longest shower scene you've seen? I mean,
Up there.
you know, she just milked that one, made a meal out of it. And then she said it was interesting that she was shooting the scene with the girl, and she had Billy Butler, I guess, who was helping her along some ways and producing. And he just said, all right, enough of the ass. Let's see some tits. She's listening to the headphones, you know. So, yeah, it was pretty funny to hear her story on that.
Well, speaking of you and Brink, y'all shot something not too long ago, right? Like you guys are still doing some indies and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, when I decided to come out again, I guess that sounds funny. I went up and had lunch at Linnea's. I took Brink. We went up there and had lunch, and I was kind of putting myself out saying, hey, you know, what's going on with this movie thing now or in the shows? Is this all still happening? They go, oh, yeah. I said, well, so if I wanted to come back, do you think, you know, that would be a good thing? Oh, yeah. So after that, I just started show connections that I had that I reached out to and got Linnea and Brink into a show or two. And then they, you know, reciprocated. And then Brink said, I know Dustin. So would you like to, with SoCal Cinema, he's doing this thing. He would like to do a cameo for his movie Grandma's House. And I said, sure. So I stepped out and I did that. And then she also, the Dark House of Mystery 2 brought me in on that one. And then she was doing When Jane Went Insane. And I'm telling you, everybody, if you have not seen this short, it is incredible. And Brink is in it and she stars in it and she's so good. And somehow they asked me to do the voice for that. So I did. And then through that, I met Brendan. Well, I met Brendan and Zach both through Linnea. And they are both, Brendan's affiliated with Asylum, who puts my word in for they're doing a movie called The Exorcists, which Jose Prentice was directing. And they hired me to do the demon's voice for the little girl in that movie, and that went real well. And then he went on to do Monster Mash and had me come in and do a part in Monster Mash. And now I'm getting offers here and there. I've got a couple out there right now that have come forward. So I'm getting back into it. I'm getting busier. Well, I guess busy, period, because I wasn't for so many years. And then the shows, you know, the people you meet there, and it just is it's a very small world. You don't think that it is, but it's a very small world, and everybody knows everybody.
Was it scary for you to get back into acting, or did it just kind of come back naturally, or?
Well, yeah, it was a little scary because here I'm so much older now. And like I say, my motto is the old gray mare ain't what she used to be. So I was a little nervous that I was going to, you know, I don't know, fill the bill, I guess, or seem attractive, because I just have never felt that I ever was. I just happened to, I guess, people liked me. And that was a big question as to whether or not I was going to be able to hold it up. You know, is she still attractive? Is she still able to? Does anybody want me? And the reception's been pretty good so far. I was really surprised, to be honest with you.
I love that. Yeah. And that's, you know, we don't have to get too psychological here, but that seems like a completely natural response to, you know, being out of it for a while and coming back into it thinking. But, you know, I mean, there's still so many great filmmakers that are doing this stuff, you know, and it's like, you're not going to see these, like, let's just say like exploitation movies. You're not seeing a ton of those in like the AMC theater and the whatever mainstream Marvel stuff. But there's a lot of like these filmmakers that love the stuff that we do, and they're still making it, and it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah, that was surprising to me when I came back, about this whole new blood of people that have just rediscovered these movies, and they want more of it. They don't want this stuff that's coming out now. They want more of what we did. And for me I know Brink and Linnea have been very busy over the years, but at your show, I had so much stuff come across my table, just missing my signature, or just, you know, or to meet me, because I haven't been available. I don't have a fan club. I don't have Instagram. I'm not social media at all whatsoever. So for them to get to see me and meet me and get my signature, it was like you know, the stars aligning. Every time I put my signature in alongside both those girls, it was like, this is complete for you. Is this just so awesome? You know, this was just so great and so fun to complete this for these fans that are just hungering for this stuff.
Yeah, I think we had somebody like from Georgia that like the whole time, you know, ever since we had announced you early on, like, he was just so focused because he had met, you know, Linnea and Brink a few times, but he had never gotten a chance to meet you. So that's something that me and Corey are pretty conscious about. Like, we want to give fans something that they may not get from, you know, other shows.
Yeah, and this is like only how many podcasts have I done? This is like my third one.
Oh.
I did one for Jose for The Exorcists, and I did one
you did one with TJ and
TJ, who I met at your show, and then this is my third podcast, and which is my way of thanking you guys so much for the show, and such a wonderful time I had, and I'm just so glad to be here, and thank you for having me, and to thank my chance to thank the fans 1,000 times over for being fans, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be here, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just so grateful for you guys for making it happen for the fans, and for the fans making it happen for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if there's one thing about like, well, any kind of collector, but like horror fans in general, you know, they love their horror movies, and the 80s and 90s were just such a special time, even the 70s. and you know, it's nice to be able to still meet people from those movies that are you know, willing to do conventions, and yeah, it was just awesome to have y'all. You know, like we had y'all on one end, and then like Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the other, and it's just, you know, it's crazy. Like I never thought we would be able to, you know, get all y'all together. So we appreciate you. But yeah, Linnea's crazy when it comes to cons. She's always doing cons.
Yeah. No, and
We've seen her at Scarefest. Hopefully one day you can do Scarefest.
Well, put out the word. You guys know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah, we know we're good friends with them, so we'll bug Brandon.
Yeah. So
Brandon,
whenever it happens, I'm just riding on the seat of my pants right now. I don't have representation now, so I'm freewheeling it from here, and the best way to get a hold of me would be like from somebody like you guys or somebody.
Okay, yeah. If anybody out there is watching this and need to get a hold of her, we can definitely help make that happen.
You will have to pass a background check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are in charge of that.
Yeah, we'll protect you.
We'll have to charge of that. Jeff, you're in charge of that.
All right. I like the responsibility.
Well, we're about out of time here, but Michelle, is there anything? I mean, you had kind of a rapid fire bunch of movies. You shot some stuff. Is there anything that we can look forward to here in the next, 6 to 12 months that we might be able to check out?
Well, I don't know if I should say anything.
If you can say it,
Yeah.
It looks like I will be working with Linnea.
Okay.
Oh,
That's all.
nice. Okay.
I'm
that's
sold.
enough.
Whatever it is, we're pre-ordered.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say.
No, that's awesome. It's great to see. I mean, and I think for the fans too, it's awesome to see that y'all are actually friends and like each other, and even after all these years. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're wonderful ladies. Everybody's good. Everybody's good, I think. We've all survived a lot over the years, and I asked Linnea one day. I said, "Oh my gosh!" I go, "Linnea, it's like we're all so much older now." Matter of fact, Linnea just had her birthday. Everybody.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
27th. That was her birthday, and I asked her. I said, "So, do you think we're going to be doing this when we're 90?" She said, "Yes, we are." Looks like we're in for the long haul.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle, for everything, and thanks for just coming back to the fold, and being back in the horror world. That means a lot to a lot of people, so we appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and thanks for getting the three of us together. That was a feat that you accomplished. I don't know how you did, but
it was honestly the easiest thing. It really was. It happened very quickly, and it was. I think they were the first guests we booked, right?
Yeah.
Corey?
Yeah.
So what did Corey do? What does a guy got to do around here to get nice?
I just get lucky every once in a while. I'm just a schmuck that runs into a wall and gets lucky.
In the first year, he was like, "We should get Joe, Bob, and Darcy," and I'm like, okay, I guess. And we got them first thing, and it turned out to be amazing.
Yeah.
It took me one weekend to get that worked out.
Yeah. But
it takes
anyway,
you less time to do
I guess. Good to do for you.
Corey, it takes you less time to get a deal in place than it takes me to build a set of Legos or something.
It's that ADHD when I focus on something, and that's the only thing that's getting done.
That is true. Yeah. Well, thank you, Michelle, for taking time out of your schedule and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it.
You bet. And give my love to Susan and the family, would you please?
I sure will. I sure will.
Right.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
What's up, my dudes? That's the end of this episode. But if you'd like to get the rest of the interview, head on over to patreon.com/spookydudes, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get full-length episodes, unedited for time, unedited for content, and much, much more. Go check it out. It's patreon.com/spookydudes, and thank you very much.